Howdy, what's going on, fuckers? Yeah, I know, I shaved. Looking less homeless today. I wanted to kind of go over tonight, real quick, how my route on Amazon Flex went. I want to preface everything by saying that I do not like nightly routes at all. And there's a very definite reason for that, because on average, the majority of the packages that you get were failed deliveries from earlier that day. So a lot of the issues that originally came up with trying to deliver the package happen again. And there's another thing that I also noticed was other drivers and their laziness. I'm just going to basically start off by letting you know, picking up orders that are already late is very, very common when this happens, because some orders will dictate, hey, I need to have it delivered by this time, and it has to be delivered at this time, otherwise, send it back, and there will be some type of note attached. What I witnessed tonight was upon ordering or picking up my orders, there were several packages that were already late because they should have been dropped off no later than 5 p.m. Now, what did I do? Of course, I still dropped these off, but a lot of these packages I actually met with the person. I would knock on the door and say, hey, here you go. That way, I don't have to drive back to the warehouse, which usually isn't that big of a problem for me. I would prefer not to, but 9 times out of 10, I'm usually over on the Henderson side of Las Vegas, so in order to get back home, I have to drive by the warehouse, at least in that general direction. So it really does not irritate me having to drop off packages, but I would prefer to drop the package off because it's more time effective that way. Now, when I have a package and I have to drop it off, but I can't, because especially with these late orders, one thing that I know is that there's no access code. I love daytime because, in my experience, at least in the Las Vegas area, the majority of packages that are being delivered into a community that requires some sort of gate code have that gate code, at least for maybe one of the packages in that complex. So if the one that's displayed when I first arrived doesn't have it, but I know that there's multiple packages, I can go in and I can see if someone that lives in that location put down an access code and I can get in. But if none of that is available to me, usually what I do is I try to look at the address, find the name, and then go on the little call box and search for the name. Now, a lot of times it's the homeowner or whoever is under the lease of that place or their mortgage or whatever. It's their name that is displayed on the call box. Now, if that name is not the exact same name that is on the package, I'm shit out of luck because I have no idea who to look for. It does not list the names by addresses. It just gives you the name of the individual, and then it does an automatic call to that person to let them know that you were trying to access the property for one reason or another. It's helpful in some situations, but for the most part, it's a headache when you can't get in and you have to deliver a package. Another thing that really irritates me is when I try to go to deliver a package, there is no access code whatsoever. Already irritated. There's no way to get in and to take care of it. And the number one thing is that wastes the most amount of time because my time is the most valuable to me. I can understand using gas to go do this. It makes sense. It's what I am investing in this work. I am investing my time and my gas. But I would rather not waste my time. Wasting my time and letting my truck idle is inherently wasting gas. So my time is far more valuable than my gas. So going in, I notice that the GPS will not let you cancel a delivery that you cannot make. Now, for an apartment complex, this is not an issue. I can't get in, no problem, no worries, I can cancel. Why? Because the GPS drop-off location is right at the gatehouse. 99% of the time, it is right there. So if I pull up to the gate, no problem, I can cancel if needed because that's where the GPS location is. But if it's like a housing community and there's homes, I have to be on at least the same street before I can cancel and say, hey, I can't deliver this. So I was at a predicament earlier tonight where I was at a location. There was no call box. There was no access code at all. The only way to get into this property, and trust me, I drove around and checked all the gates. The only way to get into the property is with one of those buttons. So what else could I do? Well, I tried to cancel. The problem is I couldn't cancel because the GPS location was 3 blocks away inside that community. So my only other alternative was to call or request a call from customer support. So I pulled over and I was ready to do that, and then I stopped. Why? Because someone else came on through. Now, you're not supposed to do this, I guess, unless you're allowed to have access into this property, but usually what I do is if someone can get the gate open, I just go in after them. I'm not on the premises for any malicious reasons. I am literally trying to provide a service. And as someone that likes to get the packages that I can, whenever I order something, I put myself in the shoes of the customer. So, if possible, I do what I can to make sure the package is delivered. Now, I'm not gonna like jump the fence or anything like that and run down the street so I can drop off the package. I'm not getting paid for that. So I am definitely not going to do that. And if anything, I could get the cops called on me if anyone were to see that. So obviously there's no way in fucking hell I am going to waste time, energy, and possible legal ramifications just to drop off a fucking package. What I will do though, if someone else opens the gate, I will drive them right through, go to the street, go to the house, drop the package in a secure location, knock on the door, and then fucking bounce. So those things really aren't that much of an issue for me when they arise. Another thing about nighttime delivery that I have noticed is during the day you're given like a set location, right? A radius of sorts. So you might have your first batch of drop-offs over here, your next batch over here, and then over here, and then here, and then here, and then, you know, kind of back over to wherever. But essentially it's like within a tight radius, and it tries to get you where you're supposed to be going. The thing about nighttime deliveries is the app does well enough to kind of get you where you're trying to go. No problems, no issues. The problem that I have though is because a lot of these are just a jumble of packages that have been a delivery attempted earlier, but you know, it's their second time around that's going to be going through, it's all over the fucking place, you know, and it still tries to get you like, hey, this is the optimal route, but then where it becomes extremely not optimal is when it doesn't prioritize drop-offs in the correct order. And what I'm saying is, my very last package that I dropped off tonight, or at least attempted to, it's actually the same one that I had no choice but to return. The package that I tried to drop off tonight was a commercial package, so I had to drop it off at this mom and pop mail shop. Okay, cool, no problem. The app is really wonky when it comes to certain GPS locations, but for the most part in commercial areas, it gets you to the right parking lot area that you're trying to be going to. So I'm, with minor difficulty, but very, very minor, I'm able to find the location. I go and I notice that they are closed. And so I'm like, okay, not the end of the world. I'm just going to go let them know in the app, hey, no problem. But then I notice when I am about to mark it as undeliverable, in the app, it lets me know the certain day of the week and the time that they are open and closed for this business. And the reason why I knew that this was a package that was attempted to be delivered today, but then returned, is because now they're doing these little stickers. So you go in, and your package, it has a batch number, letter and number, and then it says, hey, your drop-off is going to be this. So I had batch K7, and just for an example, it was drop-off number 13, which I think is really useful. You go in, everything's numbered, so you can set up all your packages in the order that they're going to be delivered and maximize its efficiency overall. I think that's a great idea. But the problem is that in the notes that I'm assuming that the previous person had left, they are closed on Sundays. This commercial business is closed on Sundays. And so there was another sticker from earlier on that same box for a different batch, for a different person. So I already knew that package had been attempted to be delivered today. So when I tried to go over and do it, obviously I couldn't. So they were already aware that this package cannot be delivered because it's closed. It even said so in the app, that the hours of this business. So then when I went back in and I said cannot deliver, business is closed, it asked me the hours, and I confirmed the hours that were already listed in the app, the same hours that were listed on the front door. So that makes me wonder, about efficiency. My number one thing when it comes to any type of employment, any time of working a business is about time management, right? If you can manage your time effectively and if you can prioritize things in the proper order, you can maximize your time, which then leads to obvious revenue, blah, blah, blah. But maximizing time and efficiency is very, very important for running the business. And the thing with Amazon that I just can't fucking stand, that I've noticed across the board, is how they prioritize these deliveries. It wastes my time to have to go to a place that the app itself knows is closed, to a delivery that's already been attempted. Now, if I were to do some sort of mathematical, calculations of how much I'm getting paid per delivery and how much a package, standard package would cost, just throwing it off of my head. Let's say that this business paid $5 for delivery, or what if they had Prime and they didn't pay anything for delivery, but they got their two-day free delivery, right? What is Amazon paying for? So already twice that this package has had to be dropped off, right? And I had 19 packages, so 1/19 of my pay was dedicated to this package, essentially. Whatever percentage for the other guy, that is as well. So Amazon is paying me and the guy before me to drop off this package that cannot be dropped off because it's being delivered on a fucking Sunday when the place is closed. That makes no fucking sense. If I were Amazon, why would I want to pay someone, 2 people, to drop off a package to a place that's closed? Because now tomorrow on Monday, it's going to have to be attempted again, which once, like I said, it makes no fucking sense. 3 times, you're paying 3 people to drop off a package, 2 of them to attempt it, and hopefully the 3rd one gets it. That makes no fucking sense to me. Like why the fuck would they even operate that way? If the business is closed, it shouldn't even be attempted for delivery, especially if it says it in the notes. I can understand if it didn't say that for the first guy, but wouldn't you think that how their automated system would aggregate and understand, like, holy shit, this place is closed, we should not let anyone fucking deliver it today? But no, that doesn't fucking matter, right? So one of my issues, especially with delivering packages late, and delivering packages that have already been attempted earlier that day, is apartment complexes. And like I said before, trying to deliver at night things that have already been returned from the day is extremely frustrating because you run into the same issues that those people had before. And this is where I come up with the shitty delivery guys. Some shitty delivery guys will just say, hey, I can't find the address. I'm at the right GPS location, can't find the address. I'm just going to fucking return this. I'm not going to waste my time. Now, could I have done the same thing? Of course I could have done the same thing. But once again, twofold. I don't like my time being wasted, so I could have done it. But at the same time, I don't want to have to drive back to the delivery place, the pickup, the warehouse. I don't want to have to drive back there. And as well, hey, I'm providing a service, and in this capacity, doing deliveries for Amazon, it's just right that I at least make the attempt, no matter how hard it must be. If I know that, hey, this is the area that I'm at, and I should be able to find the address. There have been times where I've gone to places where the GPS sent me to a location, I was right in front of the house, but the house had a completely different address. And the only way that I could find the proper address was looking up on Google, because the street address was completely different on the curb. And the address on the particular house that's right above the garage wasn't there because whoever fucking owned the house was doing construction, and that part was off. So I just had to take a couple minutes and do my research and find out where the package belonged. But that is not the same that can be said for apartment complexes. I fucking hate apartment complexes. I do not mind them during the day because I can at least see. At night, it is 10 times worse. Now, the number one problem I have with apartment complexes is finding out the structure of it. You go in and it's like, all right, so you're going to kind of do a loop. The lower numbers start on the right, loop it all the way around, and then by the time you come to leave, that's where the highest numbers are, right? Well, I could easily say wrong, because in a situation like the night, one of the places I went to that took me fucking forever just to find one of the many places I had to drop off at, the numbers were all over the place. Where you would normally come in, you make your right, high numbers, low numbers, high numbers, like it was all over the place. And then I had no choice but to leave, look at the map, okay, that's where I need to go. And there's a lot of times where I will look at the package I got delivered and I can see the map and everything's fine. Other times it's not that easy because the map might give you a general location of something, but it never really specifies in order. Luckily, this map, it told me exactly where to go. But even once I was there, it wasn't that easy because the map just shows you general location of the buildings. Doesn't show you the parking structures or anything like that. So that was another one where I had to wait for someone else to come through before I could actually go in, because once again, there was no gate information and the call box names were completely different than the names on the packages. So what this does at nighttime is it eats into my time, and most of my time is just looking for the address, which that's going to be the majority of the time when you're delivering, is going to be figuring out where the fuck am I supposed to drop this off at. The problem with apartment complexes, before even just trying to get in, before even trying to figure out the general location of the place, is finding the actual, on the building, where it has the building number and it says in this building is apartment blank to apartment blank on the top floor and apartment blank and blank on the bottom floor. And it gives you like this estimation of we have these units in this building. Fantastic, sweet, I'm all about that. The problem that I have with this place and with almost every fucking apartment complex is that those signs are positioned in such a way to where it's extremely difficult to see it from the street. Now, if you're walking on the sidewalk, you can look up and see it, no problem. But if you're on the street, by the time you're in a position where you can look over and actually see it, especially at fucking nighttime when it's dark, there's this big ass awning right in front of your way. Now, sometimes, for a car park, but there are areas, there are gaps where you can kind of go through and then kind of glance up so you can see it. This place, every fucking time, it was one of those areas where I could stay in the car, be able to look up and check it out. There was a fucking big ass tree right in the way. And that's another thing with apartment complexes. There's fucking trees everywhere, which is fucking great for the people that live there, but it sucks for people doing deliveries. Now, that's just part of the job, and I just gotta grin and bear it. But, I still don't like it. So, time is very valuable to me. It's more valuable than anything else. Now, there have been times where I've done a 5-hour block of deliveries with 70 plus packages. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's people who have done more in less time, but just for reference, that was, one of my first. It was 5-hour block. I'm going to be doing 73 packages. Let's go. And I knocked it out in 2.5, 3 hours, give or take. That's from the time I picked it up to the time that my last package was dropped off. Not a single one needed to be returned. Yeah, some of them were multiple packages per location, but I was able to maximize my time. Now, tonight I had much fewer packages. It was a 2-hour block, 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. And by the time I was able to leave do all my deliveries, the last one that I attempted, and then drive back to the warehouse, drop off the package, and leave the warehouse, it was 8:30. So, I can understand if it would take me roughly 2 hours, hell, maybe 2.5 hours to do all this just because of some minor confusion. But it was 3 hours total, and it was an estimated amount of, 2 hours worth of work. So the way Amazon does it is it's all based upon, from my assumptions, it's all based upon, hey, you have this many packages. And, you have it does it in blocks, I should say. So you're going to sign up for a 2-hour block. So 2-hour block will be this number of packages to this number of packages. And then that's it. Because when you go up, you don't know where you're going to be going. You don't know what your route is going to be until you scan and pick up. It is on the warehouse side. When they, put everything in the computer, put the package order, this bullshit, when they put that on there, and it's like, hey, this is going to be it. So this one K7's got 19 packages. Here's 19 packages that are all roughly in the same city. Fuck it. Let's go, right? So it's really done by number of packages, if you really break it down. From my assumption, if it's up to 60 packages, you're going to get about a 4-hour block. If it's around 40 packages, you're going to look at a 3-hour block, something like that. The number is really bizarre from what I've experienced. But it is a fucking pain in the ass to have to do these things. And it's about halfway through when I finally realized that I'm going to have mainly apartment complexes for the rest of my route. just based upon the map that I looked at, I'm like, yeah, these pretty much seem, for the number of packages I have left, this seems like an area, like it's going to be strictly apartment complexes. And that's ultimately what it was. I don't like going in and having to pick up a bunch of packages that have already been delivered earlier. So what's the best way to avoid this? Try to get morning into afternoon blocks. But any nighttime blocks that I've done, I've noticed that they eat up way more time than anything else that I've done. It is the biggest pain in the ass to me. It is the biggest loss of efficiency that I have with what I try to do. At the end of the day, it's fucking horseshit. I can't see myself keep doing the nighttime ones. I try to pick up whatever I can, and unfortunately sometimes other people have found out the nighttime ones suck, so they just don't want to fucking do them, so those are the ones that come up. Now, I can understand doing it if you were incentivized with the nighttime ones. From certain hours, let's say, hey, we're going to throw in another $10 for these deliveries because we want to make sure that people are going to get what's worth to them. So I think that even though throughout the day, certain batches of packages are set for a certain dollar amount, like, oh, we have a 4-hour block here, we'll pay $72. All right, cool, no problem. But the nighttime ones, hey, you're going to have fewer packages, but they are harder to deliver. They were returned for a fucking reason. And because of that, we understand that might be a hard time on you because the vast majority of packages that you're going to be delivering are going to be a pain in the ass to deliver. So here's a little bit of an incentive so that, hey, you're got fewer packages to deliver. You're expected to do it in a shorter amount of time, but we're going to incentivize you with a little bit more money because we understand that time is valuable. Amazon doesn't understand that time is valuable, not for them, for employees or people that are independently contracted through them. They don't understand that time is ultimately beneficial to them. I've gone on pretty long in this, and I just want to say the whole purpose of this video is to demonstrate certain things that you can expect when you do a night shift. And for those that just to watch me ramble, this is what I'm fucking talking about. These are the things that irritate me in life. Efficiency. I'm not the kind of guy that wants to strive to be, like Rossmann said it perfectly. By doing this with Amazon, I am building towards Amazon's success. I'm not building towards mine. But in the here and now, the extra money helps. So, for this particular situation, I kind of understand what I've gotten into. So, it's not the fucking end of the fucking world for me because I know that this is just to an end to a means in the here and now. It's not what I'm striving for long term. So, and I actually learned that from Rossmann tonight because as I'm driving, listening to him fucking talk, whether it be about motherboard repair or life shit, it just fucking gets to me every time. It's like, he's saying all the shit that I should be telling myself sometimes. So, anyway, fucking tired. I got a shower. This is MaceValor.